Could AEW be adding to an already stacked roster? There's a handful of WWE talents that are going to be available or are already available that could make sense for whatever Tony Khan's got planned. I'm your boy Adam Taylor. This is my boy Mike Webber, and welcome to another episode of an Elite Podcast. Mike, what's good, bro?
What's going on, man? How we doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're coming off a week, coming off an episode of Collision, just coming after a fresh week where we just saw Motor City Machine Guns debut over in AEW. Feels like that was always going to be the best place. And I felt like that was the best place for them before they ended up signing with WWE. And it kind of gave me the idea for this show, this episode of the show. And also because I've been dying to get this show up and running, and I'm glad it's going to be me and you moving forward with it. There's a few names that are either leaving or have left WWE in recent weeks that we've heard potentially could be signing with AEW in the next couple of weeks or months. And I'm sure Tony Khan's going to want to try and stagger them out a little bit. He spoke recently about adding new talent and being very cognizant of the talent that's already under contract in AEW. And there's only so much TV time to go around with two shows. So every time you bring somebody in, you're squeezing other guys and girls for TV time. And that obviously creates some great competition, but it can also lead to some hard feelings. So I think he's going to be really cautious with who he adds and when he adds them. But overall, I feel like a lot of these names are going to be positive additions should they end up in AEW. So I want to go through them one by one, and I definitely want your thoughts on whether they would fit, whether you don't think they'd fit. There's one name on here I'm kind of out on, but then you might feel a different way, right? So first and foremost, I feel like this is the biggest given. It's going to be the New Day. So bringing in the New Day, then your tag team division just gets another jolt of absolute high-level talent, super fun tag team that you can always rely on them to tell their story, to be entertaining. There is that kind of, we want to see them against the Young Bucks, but I feel like the tag division is so strong, they would have so many good matches that this is a addition that I think makes the most sense out of all of the names we're about to float.
Yeah, I would say they would be like the golden ticket free agent, like the priority, like tier one for AEW. I would hope that would be the case. Storytelling would be great. I guess my biggest thing with them would be, I wonder, do they come in as heels, how they ended their last run, or do they come back in as the faces with the fan interactions and stuff? I mean, I guess the story kind of tells itself. The fan interactions and responses tells itself. But I love the tag division in AEW. I would love to see, there are so many matches. I'm thinking automatically Cage and Cope, Young Bucks, FTR. There's so many. Right. Oh my God. So many fantastic tag matches I'd love to see like instantly with them. So I would love to see that. I think also it shines a positive light when you talk about bringing on Shelton Benjamin, what they did with MVP, as well as obviously Bobby Lashley, amongst, look at Ricochet and his squad. They're doing awesome. The demands turned into a really big thing too. So I'd love to see that happen with the Bullet. Number one with the Bullet, the New Day for me. I'd love to see that happen.
I think for me, I see them as a way where you can get over with the fan base with a really talented in-ring duo, but also two guys that aren't afraid to be a little bit wacky. And the last time AEW had a really over wacky, entertaining, great on the mic tag team was the Acclaimed. And that was over in a real big way a few years back. I mean, I've got like maybe 2 or 3 Acclaimed t-shirts just in a drawer somewhere in my bedroom because obviously I wore them. They're not really a tag no more. I will wear them on this show from time to time as well, just to show some love because I was a big Acclaimed guy. I think that they could fill a void there. Obviously, they're not the same. They're not going to be probably as over in terms of coming out rapping on the way down to the ring or,
Right.
doing some Sesame stuff, even though that was excellent at the time. But I
Yeah.
do think there's a void there that they could potentially fill. Now, that to me tells me they're going to come in as faces. One thing I always try and remember is whenever new talent joins AEW, whether it be WWE, whether it be New Japan, or coming in from CMLL or wherever, Rev Pro maybe, they're always kind of given this period where they have to pay their dues. There's going to be some losses along the way. Okay, and I will put this out there because I know someone's going to be in the comment section saying it. One of the only people that haven't had to go through that really was Tommaso Ciampa that came in and won a championship in his
Oh
first year.
yeah, he
Okay, cool.
busts on the scene
Yeah,
pretty solid.
exception to the rule, they always happen. But for the majority of guys and girls, they go through a kind of bedding in process. They're going to take some dubs. Some L's. They're going to have to get others over. But I do think that the New Day coming in as faces and being this really high energy, great on the mic duo that can also back it up in the ring makes a ton of sense to me. Now, is it going to be a long-term deal, or is it going to be maybe they're here for a good time, not a long time? I'm not sure. I do think that either All In or All Out make great sense for them to be like this mystery duo that come in, or they crash a Young Bucks match and custom a match and go that way. I think starting off a storyline hot would be great, but I also know that Tony Khan's not afraid to give you this big type of debut on a Dynamite on a random August or September Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? Or on a Collision later in the week. So while I do think that debuting them at All In or All Out makes sense, I could also just randomly imagine waking up one day, because I always watch Dynamite and Collision the next morning, and seeing them just turn up on my TV screaming on a random weekday.
It does seem to want to write itself. Somehow this becomes part of Code Cage and the Bucks, because now you're talking about 3 of the top 10 all-time, top 5 possibly greatest tag teams of all time, right? And that just seems like a no-brainer. But you're absolutely right. Tony's not afraid to pull out all stops on a Collision or a Dynamite. And either way, I hope to see that sooner than later. I definitely want to see. I was really impressed with Woods, his wrestling, him being allowed to actually wrestle more and be a featured act too. And I think Kofi's always been super underrated. If that's possible, I don't know how somebody gets to like the top of the mountain and wins that much, and I still view him as an underrated wrestler. So either way, I hope this is a thing that's going to happen. It feels inevitable. I don't know if you have a source that could tell us for sure, but I know. Yeah, I know. Sometimes you got to be like the wake, but I'm definitely excited about that. I hope the New Day comes out. I don't know if they're gonna be throwing pancakes to the audience, but I definitely think they're gonna shake things up and reinvigorate the tag division for sure.
Maybe when it comes to basketball, I might have a source here or there. Wrestling, I'm in the dark as much as everybody else. I have no sources. The only source I have is ketchup. With that, I do think as well, you mentioned 3 high-level tag teams. I do want to throw Motor City Machine Guns in there too, just because I feel like anyone outside of the WWE fan base probably didn't know what they were about beforehand, and their like history, their catalog of matches is incredibly underrated. I'm currently working my way through them because I hadn't seen a stupid amount of their matches. So it's something that I'm trying to re-educate myself on, or at least educate myself on, as we start getting used to seeing them in AEW. So yeah, New Day, I think that should be a lock. It's a duo that needs to be here sooner rather than later. It's a duo that can really fill a void that's been there for a while now.
Yeah.
I'm all in. Next name would be Kairi Sane. So I think Kairi Sane would be a great addition to the AEW women's rotation. I think she would slot straight into some excellent storylines. She fits the AEW style of wrestling really, really well. And she elevates the talent pool that's there. Now, look, I'm a huge, and we'll do episodes on this, and it's one of my dream interviews. And if you go onto the page, you can see that when I was starting to launch this before, I was super lucky to have an interview with Mercedes Moné, with Orange Cassidy. They're up on the page right now. One of my dream interviews right now would be Willow Nightingale. I am a huge Willow fan.
Same, bro.
And I think that elevating the talent around people like Willow and around all the other great female talents within AEW, and again, Toni Storm's going to come back at some point and she elevates that pool too, and all of this amazing female talent there, putting Kairi Sane in there, a rising tide raises all ships, right? And I'm not saying Kairi's going to just all of a sudden change the makeup of the women's division, but she's going to strengthen it a fuck ton. And I think that I'd be really in on adding her, and I'd like that to happen soon as well. I think the New Day and Kairi Sane are the 2 that I'd like to add as quickly as possible, because I think that they can give each division, the tag division and the women's division, something that they don't already have, and an opportunity to explore new avenues and, you know, potentially give Willow some extra different people to contend with. I know she's got this story going on with Mercedes Moné right now. I'm hoping that we don't have to go through another Mercedes championship run so soon. I think that they played that story out for quite a while, and I'd like to see Willow get a run. But then obviously have Kairi Sane come in. It just adds more diversity in terms of the storylines that you can have, and I'd be all in.
Yeah, Willow's the definition of patience and organic growth for sure, as far as her ascension as a professional wrestler. I've been a big fan from the rip, but having said that, it's the storyteller has been great. She's rising. They need to let her have a run. But having said that, I agree with you. Kairi Sane brings something that I think that the men's division has probably more of, as far as high flying, high risk. She's just a very different kind of wrestler. Not to diminish any of the female wrestlers on AEW. It's loaded, it's stacked. There's lots of great wrestlers, but Kairi Sane does things that you just like, wow, I can't believe I just saw that. And that's a common feeling I had watching her wrestle. I was like, wow, I can't believe she just did that. Wow, she just did this. And I don't think she gets enough credit, to be honest with you, for her level of wrestling. I think she's elite. She's great.
Yeah, and again, she fits the AEW in ring side of things,
Yeah.
right? She can come in and she can hang. I do think that there'd be a little bit of a process of finding out how she fits in character wise in AEW, and who do you pair her with, like in terms of a faction, or do you have her going solo? How do you find ways to get her over? I think that would take some time. And again, this is part of the process you go through when you're creating a bit of a new character and you're creating a new name for yourself. Ricochet didn't hit the ground running in AEW. We had some great matches, but his character work took a moment before he kind of landed on this bald,
Yeah, 100%.
angry, bit of a dickish kind of character. But it takes time, and I think that she could figure it out. And while we were waiting for that character to develop,
Yeah.
the work she would do in the ring would more than cover up for everything. And I think with AEW, first and foremost, again, it's kind of cliche at this point, but it is where the best wrestle. So
Hey,
I'd be all in.
quick Mike Weber anecdote. I'm a musician, as some of you know. If you don't, I am. And one of the coolest things ever was I was singing in a wedding with my band, with my guys, and Ricochet was in attendance with Samantha Irvin at the wedding. And I didn't realize it till after the fact. I'm like, this couple's having a good time, huh? My buddy taps to his shoulder and goes, you know, that's Ricochet, right? And at the time, Samantha hadn't taken off yet, but Ricochet was there. And I was such a fanboy about it. I didn't even go up to him. I didn't bother him. But the whole time, I want to let everybody know I'm the idiot who didn't ask Samantha Irvin to come up and sing at this wedding. She totally should have. But Ricochet is legit, and I hate his guts. And I mean that in the best way. I mean that in the
Could you imagine
absolute
being
best
there
way.
singing when you've got an elite singer in the crowd? Imagine if you'd known, you probably would have been like, do you know what? I can't sing no more. Do you know what I mean? She's got to do the rest of the show.
I know, man.
Next
But it
name
was
up on
cool,
this.
cool. Yeah.
Next name up on this list is somebody I'm personally out on adding. I don't think they add much in terms of character or in ring, and I feel like this is super controversial. So I'm expecting some backlash in the comments, and if that's the case, fine. Keep it respectful. I'll keep it respectful too. Is Zelina Vega. I think that I always saw her as somebody that tried to build her character around what Sasha Banks' character was in WWE. And I think that putting her into a promotion where Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks, already is, it would force her into making so many adjustments. And along with the fact that I think her in-ring work is very WWE pilled, not super translatable. Now, again, I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm not saying that she'd be a terrible pickup. But going back to what Tony Khan said about people getting squeezed, I just don't know how she would consistently command the spot on TV when there's so many other talented women around her, whereas Kairi Sane would consistently command that TV time. They would find a way for her. And again, I'm not saying that Zelina Vega's not great. I just don't see how she fits with the current roster as it currently is.
Yeah, I only want her in if it means that's how we get Aleister Black. You know what I mean? If it's a 2-for-1, I'll tolerate it, because I have to say, I absolutely love the House of Black in AEW. I love Brodito, and I love Brody King and his solo run as well. But if it means that she's the valet or part of whatever Aleister Black brings, I'll accept that. But I agree. I don't remember the name of the wrestler. If anybody wants to comment on this, or if Adam could pull it out of thin air, who was the British wrestler who used to be a Miami Heat dancer who was in WWE before? She was tiny too. She was good, but that's who Zelina Vega backfilled in WWE. Was like the same vibe. You know what I mean? It was like the underdog, kind of smaller.
You're explaining it really bad, and I'm struggling to think of who you're talking about. Because as soon as you said British wrestler, I was just like, are you talking about... Oh, I forgot her name now. The one that just jumped from AEW to WWE.
Yeah, I'm not trying to stop you. I'm just,
can't get out of NXT. What I will say is,
Yeah.
I really liked the House of Black. I was a big fan when the House of Black was going on. Brody King,
his
you
buddy.
had Buddy Matthews, you had Malachi Black. I don't see a world where, and I feel like Malachi Black went to AEW to bridge the gap until he got a chance to go back to WWE. And once that chance came, he left.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure on whether it fits for him to go back there now, basically. And I know there's been counteracting reports on this, whether or not AEW would welcome him back, whether or not he'd want to go back. I feel like at this point in time, you went there, it kind of worked, kind of didn't. There was always discussions on whether you were willing to put other people over or whether you had to go over yourself. And the character worked, the in-ring worked, but clearly he wanted to be in WWE and it didn't play out. And I think that if you
Yeah.
are with AEW because you want to be with AEW and you leave because money's better and opportunities are better, that's one thing and the return makes sense. But if you're with AEW because you want to get to WWE again and then you get there and that shit don't play out, I'd rather not see you come back.
There's a difference. I agree. And I agree also, like, they were so over in AEW. The House of Black was, if anything, I remember
It was
watching
a great gimmick.
I remember watching even Hart, Julia Hart's character was fire on that.
Yeah.
I just remember watching it being like, if anything, I used to watch the House of Black and be like, I want more of this. This is done so well. And that just proves that Tony and the group, they were doing it right. Because I was watching the show wanting more of it week to week. But I agree with that. That makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to double down on Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. I'm with Adam. You guys can be mad about it, but I think that makes a lot of sense. I also don't want to see Brody King backslide at all.
No. I want him staying with Brody, and that's the other thing.
Yeah.
If you're not coming back to the House of Black, I mean, Buddy Matthews has been out for a minute, but you could come back and team with Buddy Matthews.
Yeah.
But I don't think Brody King should be getting put back into that faction at all. And I think that's part of the equation too. Like, do you just try and run back the House of Black, or do you bring Malachi Black back and then try and find a new avenue for him? And I think either way is super. The fit's kind of forced, and the roster's moved on since he left. There's other new faces in AEW that are as good, if not better, and they're developing as well. You've got some younger guys that are going to need the TV time. For me, a guy that came there and used it as a bridge to get out and then it just didn't work, bringing him back and squeezing someone else's TV time doesn't make sense to me. So I'd be out on bringing back Malachi Black. And
there you go.
If Zelina Vega doesn't come because of that too, then fine. The only other name I've got on this list is Sheamus. Now, Sheamus to me is a hell yeah. And I think one of my only concerns is AEW kind of leans towards away from, these powerhouse stars. Obviously, Brody King is a exception to the rule. He's over in a big way with a lot of the fan base. He just seems like a class guy, as in like a human being, just an excellent person. And I think that always plays a role in your ability to be successful. I'd like to see Sheamus go there because I think it's another big guy that can go up against Brody, that can go up against Shelton, that can go up against Bobby Lashley. I was obviously Bill's
Joe,
just
maybe
left.
Joe.
Yes,
right?
Joe. Yeah. And then he's still athletic enough to hang with the Will Ospreays, the Kenny Omegas, the Adam Hangman Pages, and still put on these exceptional matches. Again, I don't know if it would be for a long time or a good time, but I think that Sheamus would be such fun. And for a guy that spent so long in the WWE, I think he would actually enjoy the creative freedom that you get when you're part of AEW to develop his character a bit more, push the boundaries, be a little bit more for the adults rather than the kids, and just really lean into his banger after banger, because that's definitely an AEW mantra in terms of the quality that they put out there. I think he's a no-brainer. Now, his contract isn't up until October 1st, I think. Again, we could just see him turn up on a random Dynamite, but just looking at the dates for everything here, he could potentially, depending on if there's a do not compete in his contract, could potentially appear at Wrestle Dream on October 17th. If not, then you've got Full Gear in November. If he was going to do a pay-per-view debut, it'd be one of those two. I know Tony Khan seems to prefer his returns at pay-per-views, which is fine. However you want to handle it's fine. But I do think Sheamus, The New Day, and Kairi Sane are the three that I'd bring in. And I think that those three, in terms of talent and in terms of additional audience that they could potentially bring with them, make perfect sense.
I think if you're Sheamus, and a lot of his communication via social media, obviously, is where we get a lot of what he's posted, seems to be that the book is closed, right? It's not like he's like killing time, healing up, wait for the new contract with the other federation, right? It feels like it makes sense. And I think if you saw Adam Copeland's done since he's come back, right, you have to be itching for that. I'm dying to see you listed up like three names right away, like Ospreay, Paige, Kenny Omega. I'm like, yes, I need to see those matches with Sheamus. So, and I do think he has the capacity.
I was muted. Okada, I
Yeah.
think Sheamus and Okada
Oh
would be
my
super fun.
God. I mean, this, and never mind Joe and all those other guys, but he's the
Takeshita.
exception where he is a powerhouse who does well with high flyers and wrestlers.
Exactly.
And kind of like, and then don't forget him and Cesaro have, not Cesaro, Claudio Castagnoli have a history together too. And that'd be an
So
interesting
apparently
matchup
Claudio's going to be one of the people in the back pushing real hard for that addition.
Yeah.
And does that mean we see Sheamus as a Death Rider, or does it mean we see Sheamus pull Claudio away from the Death Riders? And then what happens with Will Ospreay there if Claudio leaves the Death Riders? Does he team up with Will to kind of fight back against them? There's so many options that become available, right? And you want that. And we're obviously, I covered the Celtics. You can see what I'm wearing now. That's my full-time job, is covering the Boston Celtics. Would I like it to be covering AEW? Sure, I'd love that, but we're on episode 1 of the reboot, so we'll see where that goes. But what I'm getting at is a key word for the Celtics this summer has been optionality. They made a huge trade. Jaylen Brown went. We don't need to get into all that, but a key word I've used all summer is optionality.
Yeah.
And Sheamus coming in and the optionality that provides with Claudio, with the Death Riders, with matchups that you can have, with storylines that you could kind of slot him into straight away, with the type of matches he could easily thrive in. All of those make perfect sense. So I am 100% on board with adding Sheamus the moment it is legally possible to do so.
Let's do it.
Yeah, with that, everybody, this is episode 1 of the Rebooted and Elite podcast. We're going to be around a lot more moving forward. Try and keep episodes 15 to 20 minutes long. So if you're new here and you stay to the end, which means you've got an exceptional amount of, attention span, make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button, and we will be back sooner than you probably think we will. Till next time, deuces, guns up, bid you adieu, farewell, good night, bang, whatever you want. Peace out.